Now everybody scream enough respect to the X. Enough respect given.
What's up YouTube, it's NG and I'm back. This particular post is what I like to call what I'm into the week in review. If you haven't seen it, well, it's new to you. I always liked that rhyme, and I've always liked these little YouTube posts and news shows where they just kind of tell you what's going on. This one is just about news that I've seen and read that I don't normally get to talk about in my other posts, because my posts are pretty much very specific to certain or to particular things. This is just kind of whatever else was there that I couldn't make a video about. So the first thing is CD Projekt Red finally put out Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I was excited for the game, not as much as most, because I won't lie, I really didn't know what Cyberpunk was. I knew it was an old IP since I was a kid, but I never played any of the board games or all of that. I knew of it by name to an extent, but it didn't really play a particularly intricate role in how I was raised. You know, no pop culture references for me, no nostalgic revelry when the name comes to mind. But the game itself just looks damn good. So when it did come out, I made the purchase. I am a gamer, not overly so, you know, but when I can, and I do like to keep on top of what seems exciting in the gaming world, mainly fighting games, but every now and then something like Cyberpunk 2077 will catch my eye. Now, I bought this device, or I bought this game on Stadia, and too much jargon from my brother, because we would normally share games across our PS4s. So he wanted to get for the PS4, but I wanted to get for the Stadia because it came with the Chromecast Ultra I had been eyeing for a while. So when they said, well, if you pre-order the game Cyberpunk, and you will get the Chromecast Ultra and the Stadia controller. Well, that pre-order would save me $100. So it kind of worked out for me with that. But little did I know that buying it for Stadia would save me all the pain and anguish that almost everyone else who bought for a console is going through. Apparently, the Stadia version of that game is the most consistent of them all, and that's with the PS4, the PS5, you know, the Xbox, the newer ones, the next gen ones, even the PC. Stadia seems to have the most consistent play of all of them. So imagine my surprise. But even I didn't think much of Stadia before this. I did have it. I did subscribe to them for a while, and every now and then I would dabble in what new games they may have, just to see how cloud gaming itself was progressing. Not so much about Stadia, but what Stadia represents represented as a cloud platform. It's the same reason why I have the Microsoft Game Pass. It's not so much about the Game Pass, or at least it wasn't so much about the Game Pass. It was about how they use the cloud gaming tech. And I must say, between Stadia and Game Pass, I can see how cloud gaming will be the future of gaming for, I would say, for most of the world, because it's just easier. If you think about it, the cloud gaming doesn't require any extra hardware on the user's end. He just has to have access to the internet, which that is where the world is going through. I'm pretty sure the internet is going to be free pretty soon, because everything will require it, and they're just gonna say, you know what, there it is, jump on. Now for faster speeds, I'm sure there'll be some kind of charge, but pretty much they're gonna have a free tier of internet, because everyone is going to have to be signed on to simply live. But that's a whole discussion for a whole other time. But yes, cloud gaming is just simply the way to go based on what I have seen. I'm able to run this huge game. From what I understand, it's 100+ gigs. Then there was an update for 80-something gigs, and there's more updates coming. I saw none of that. When I bought the game and I pressed play, it simply played. There was no wait for the install. I heard that some installs took hours to days because it was so backed up, everyone trying to download and install this game. I had none of that to go through. It was, oh, bought it, play it, and there it was. All updates and whatever the game required was done before the game even got to me. So right there is when I saw the true potential of cloud gaming, because I never even thought about the download and install part. I always found that very annoying with these disc-based games, because back in the day when you had Nintendo and Super Nintendo and cartridge-based consoles, there wasn't any of that. It was you pop in your game, you power it up, and you play. Now, whether you buy a game via the web store or a physical copy with a disc, when you activate that game in your console, it has to download something. It has to install something. It's almost like, what's the point of having the disc if the disc is just a key for you to get the install from the internet anyway? It's just very bothersome with all of that stuff. So I was very happy with how Stadia performed when it came to Cyberpunk 2077. Now, that's not to say it didn't have its share of hiccups, but personally, I didn't see any of the graphical issues that people had posted on YouTube and Twitter and all of that. Only issue I had was sometimes it would have some jumps and such because my internet jumped. But that's par for the course with cloud-based gaming. That's the one flaw I can see. If your internet isn't consistent, the gameplay itself simply can't be consistent. But for the most part, I have really enjoyed Cyberpunk 2077, especially with the knowledge that I didn't have to go through any of the problems that I would have gone through if I had followed my brother's lead. I went with the PS4 version of the game. I can only imagine how horrendous that would have been, seeing all the pop-ins and the load times while in game. I don't even want to think about it. So Cyberpunk 2077 for me personally, pretty good experience. I do hope that CD Projekt Red can clear up these issues that have come down on them due to the launch on the other or on the last gen consoles. I do hope that they can, as they say, save face and do something nice for their player base, because what had happened or what is happening does come down to them being a company not properly taking the time they need to release a better version of the game. And the time was all on them. There was no rush. People had been waiting 8 years, from what I understand, watch another few months to a year to make sure every version of the game is a playable version of the game. So that's that about CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk. I just wanted to get that out. Now, also this week, what really caught my eye was Oppo. Oppo showed a what do you call it? A proof of concept for a folding phone, for a trifold folding phone. That is very different in its approach. I had seen some other prototypes, proof of concepts for tri-folding phones, and they were always kind of like a magazine, and you just pull it out like an accordion. But this one was more like that essential phone that was supposed to come out, but didn't. It was thin, and it folded over on itself, but it folded in segments. So every segment that you pulled up on the phone showed some of the screen underneath, and the phone knew for every segment of the screen that is shown, you have a different visual. So it was the weather here, then it was, I don't know, your messages here, then it was controls up here for something. Then when it was completely open, you have full control of your phone. It was really nice. I could really see something like that coming to market, and people just eating it up. It's such a fresh approach and a minimal approach to the phones we have now. Even the folding phones, because they're big. Yes, they fold over to try and save space, but when they fold over, they get pretty thick. So you save space one way, but you gain more phone another way. So this particular device, at least based on the concept, didn't seem that thick. Even when you folded it up, it didn't seem like it would take up much space at all. And I think that's where Oppo should pretty much concentrate on the folding phones, because as new as they are, already we're beginning to see a lot of repetition in the designs of them. We have the Galaxy Fold and the Galaxy Z Fold 2. From what I've read, the next Huawei Mate X is going to adopt the inner fold like the Z Fold has, as opposed to a new version of the exterior fold that folds out from the back of their first two. I mean, I've always said that Huawei's approach to the folding phone gave me pause, because I didn't see how you could protect a screen that was always exposed. I get that when the screen did fold around the back of the other screen, you had a phone with a screen on both sides, and when it opened, it was that large tablet with no crease. But I'd rather have a crease that is only slightly visible, depending on how I angle the device and look at it and have my screen always exposed to the elements and everything like that. There was no case that I saw that properly protected the Mate X or the Mate S. So, I was always concerned for those who did spend the upwards of $2,000 to get that device, and how exactly did they protect it? So, this new Oppo, I don't remember what they called it, but this new trifold design, or I think maybe even a quadfold design. This way, it kind of rolled. It's not even rolled. The way it unfurled itself. Very interesting phone indeed. I'm pretty sure that if they were to produce that, it would cost a pretty penny, because that is a very different take on the modern phone. Along with that, the news of LG's foldable phone came about. There weren't any images of it, more blueprint type things and how the phone would work and all of that, but they did have a price or a estimate of how much this device would cost, and they were saying $2,300. Now, I'm not even mad. I'm not really that surprised, simply because the Z Fold, which the Z Fold 2, which is another folding device, is $2,000. This one doesn't fold, but it is going to be one of the first rollable phones where it just kind of pulls out to have more screen real estate. And to my knowledge, it is supposed to be released in March, which means someone out there already has one, playing with it and tinkering with it and all of that. So it's going to hit the market soon enough, or at least it should. And when new tech hits the market, the price is higher. It has to be, because they have to take the money from the new tech and bring that down to to the point where they can make that same device, produce that same device at a cheaper cost. The more expensive ones pay for the cheaper ones. That's pretty much how it goes. Oh, and so the cost of the more expensive one will go into research and design just to figure out how to make it cheaper. So those who are first adopters, that's what you do. That's what we do. I'm one of them. If ever I have the chance, I bought the original Fold day one. I bought my Z Flip day one. Surface Duo day one. An early adopter of foldable phones. I am, when I'm able to, of course. So that was very exciting to see and read about, both the new Oppo device and the potential cost of the LG rollable phone, just simply because having the price there, true or not, lets it be known that yes, this is a reality that is coming forth full steam. I think that the last one of these had another company had shown off their rollable phone, and it was I forgot how it went. It was a mechanical roll. You press a button and it just kind of widened itself. You press it again and it kind of went back in. Personally, I'd want a phone kind of like a scroll. You just pull it and it locks in place. I think it'd be a lot faster than having to wait for it to sheath and unsheath. Kind of like those SUVs where you press a button for the rear trunk to close. What's the point? It's faster if you just slam it shut. I mean, you can press the button and then you can leave it and walk to your car, and by the time you get in your car, turn it on, put on your seatbelt, the door is just closing. Or you can just slam it down and be secure in your mindset that, yeah, that door's locked. It is what it is. But I just like the fact that these rollable devices are on their way. It's just another way that foldable screens are being used, and it will give more people ideas on how they could use them, because not everyone is on board with the Z Flips and the Z Folds and Huawei's and the LG Wings, so that's not really a foldable, but the phone the phone is a transformative device, just like the Duo. Not really a foldable, but it is a transformative device. So that's where people need to be. They need to see all these various options, because one of them will fit the way they do things. And as long as any one of those designs can fit, the foldable segment will begin to grow and eventually eclipse the devices that we currently have. That's my hope, because foldable is just way more interesting and way more efficient if you use them properly. Having more than one screen or that much more screen real estate to get work done, it's just better overall. And most people won't know how much better it is until they actually get to use some version of the transformative phone or the foldable phone. So I'm very happy that that is coming about. Now, Samsung, again, back in the news. And of course, it's not for anything bad. The S21 leaks keep on happening. And I've said before, I'll say it again, I don't think these are leaks per se. I think it's just Samsung slowly spoon feeding the people to keep themselves in the news, have people talking about this device, because the leaks that they always tend to happen around the same time. Now, it really could just be there's a group of people that have access to all of these CAD files and all this info, and they just say everything around the same time. Or maybe it's Samsung's way of getting free advertising. I mean, as rich as they are, I'm sure if they could find a way to save some money, they would. Times are hard for everybody. But yeah, the S21, we've seen the colors. We have seen, or we have read about the S Pen inclusion and the cases for the S Pen. So yes, like I did say before, this might be the end of the Note line, because the S21 does indeed have the digit attachers that can make use of the S Pen. So the S Pen will be an accessory you buy. Apparently it will come with a case so you can holster the S Pen, and you get your Note functionality when the phone detects an S Pen. To me, it only makes sense. But in that same vein, when questioned about that, Samsung said that they're not killing the Note anytime soon. So I'm curious, what is the Note going to evolve into? Because if the S can be a Note, what is the Note supposed to be? I assume that the biggest difference between the S and the Note now is that with the Note, it comes with the S Pen and it can be stored within the silo built into the phone. Is that going to be the only difference? Because if that's the case, I'd probably just go for an S, because the S, well, so far has always been cheaper than a Note, unless the price of the S Pen and case bring it up to the same price as a Note. Well, then I'd probably still get an S, just so Samsung sees no one is supporting the Note anymore. Make the new Note the foldables. That's what we all want. We all want the Z Fold 3 and the Z Flip 2 and whatever your rollable might be called, the Scroll perhaps, that would be a very cool name. Make all of them come with S Pens. It would be great to have a Scroll phone, pull it down, and just write or a Scroll tablet because that would be amazing. A little tech cube, when you're ready, you hold it, but it's already has the cylindrical shape. You hold it, pull it down, and it's a writable screen. Oh man, shoot, that tech right there, man, I can't even form words just thinking about that. I would just die. But yeah, turn the notes into the next foldables, and turn the S into optional notes if people really want S Pen functionality. I think it's a better way to go. You'll be able to streamline, or they will be able to streamline their devices, because as it stands right now, they have so many, most people cannot keep up. They have A line and S line and M line and Note line and Z line and God knows what else that I honestly don't know. Oh, W in China, there's the W line, and and there's the F line. So is it the F line, or is that just me? That might just be me. But so I'm excited. I really am. These new phones, this new phone functionality, it's a really good time to be alive if you're a fan of this kind of tech, because everything is coming so fast. You know, you have to keep on the ball. You need to adjust to these new things that are coming, lest you get left behind. Now, also this week, I think it was on Tuesday. What was it? The AirPod Max finally came out. It was announced last week, I think, or maybe the week before. But this week, it began to be shipped to those who pre-ordered the device. Now, with a lot of the reviews and posts about it, everyone, is it regaled? No. Everyone regarded the $549 price tag. Now, if you are an audiophile, or at least an audio enthusiast, the price is the last thing that you're thinking about. I heard it was $549, and I went, I wonder how it sounds. It was, oh my God, it's $549. What are we going to do? The world is ending. Oh my, it's crazy. How dare they? If you know headphones, any at all, a really good pair of headphones will run you anywhere, or can run you anywhere from $100 to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I mean, it's not crazy. $500 for a good pair of headphones is simply $500 for a good pair of headphones. That's all it is. Now, you don't have to buy headphones for $500. No. If you really look, if you know what you like to hear, how you like to hear it, you can find things in the $100 range, even less. I have a pair of earbuds, not wireless either. I think that they were $8, and those buds were on, I think it was in 2018 list of best headphones you can possibly buy, because it was a dare by this company to take a test, buy these buds and compare them to some of your best headphones and tell me if they don't sound, if not better, at least as good. And they did. They took away all the bells and whistles, all the this, all of that, all the material, and just gave you the drivers for the sound in these little buds that you plug into your phone. There's no mic, there's no noise canceling, they're not waterproof. It's just the bare essentials in these little buds for like $8, and they sound amazing. So you don't have to buy $500 headphones. You can. I'm pretty sure that the AirPods Max sound better than those buds, but the value proposition is completely different. To have something that costs $8 sound as good as those buds is crazy. At $500, it better sound good. If it doesn't, then it's just ridiculous. Because if you can get quality sound for something as cheap as $12, I have another one here. The Cost Pro. Yeah, the Cost. I think called the KOSS Pro. Again, not wireless, no bells and whistles, but the sound from those for a cheap pair of headphones is phenomenal. That it's all about the cost to value ratio when it comes to headphones, or I guess the cost to audio quality. That's how you really need to measure it. Not so much how much it costs, but what is the audio quality like when you actually play them. Because if it is out of this world, it's worth whatever money you spent on it. It's just that simple. Those little earbuds I have, they could charge you $100 plus, $200 for a little wired, non-descript, no frills, earbuds, and no one would have questioned them because they sound that damn good. For the cost, I think I got those for like $20 on Black Friday sale. They're normally $50 to $70, but they sound great. It's not about price when it comes to audio quality. The price is the last thing you think about. First, it's how does it sound? How does it feel? Maybe how does it look? Some people want their headphones to have a certain pizzazz to it, but the real audiophiles, I mean, I'm not one of them, but at some point I hope to be. I'm an audio enthusiast. I know what I like to hear, and I try to get what I have to have that precise sound. But yeah, all of the hullabaloo about $549 Apple AirPods Max, not necessary. It was a little annoying. That's what they like to focus on. Oh my God, it's this much. I'm like, I have a pair of $500 headphones. Go check out my video. $500 headphones is not unheard of. You can go get the Bang & Olufsen H95 for $800. No one bats an eye at that. You can go and get, I think it was the one, the thing with the Azure, I don't remember the number. I think that one was $3,900 for a pair of headphones. And you know what? You still don't bat an eye, because from what I understand, they sound amazing. Then, I mean, if you're a big baller and you just have money to blow, you can go get the Sennheiser's H-1. That is a $60,000 headphone. Yes, I said $60,000. But it is what it is. I'm sure when you put on those headphones, you can hear God whispering to you. The clarity, the balance. At least that's what I would assume for that price. I mean, it does come with a really, really, really good amp too. It's like these, what do you call it? I can't even remember. Whatever. It does come with a really, really good amp, and the headphone is just, $60,000 for this amazing set. But I hear the sound is heavenly. So if I had that kind of money, yeah, it wouldn't be, oh my God, it's $60,000. It would be, give it to me. I can afford it. I want to hear what that sounds like. The same way, like with the AirPod Max, I'm not startled at the price tag. I just want to hear what it sounds like. Is it worth to me that $500? Because if it is, well, it's just $500. But I'm getting what I want out of that $500. Now, can you get something cheaper with probably the same type of sound signature? I'm pretty sure you can if you look around. Everyone talks about the Bose and the Sony XM4s. I have them both. They're both very good headphones. And if the iPod Max sounds like those, you gotta ask yourself, well, these three things sound the same. What does the Max have that makes it worth the extra $200? And that's where you begin to weigh it. But if it sounds so good that it blows those two out of the water, you can physically hear a difference that just makes you feel better about yourself, then it's not a question. Who cares what the AirPods Max has or doesn't have in comparison to the other industry leaders in the audio field? It sounds damn good. And that's all it really should be. How does this sound? Price aside, how does this sound? Does this thing make me feel good when I listen to it? And if it is, well, then it is what it is, and that's all it will ever be. So I think those are pretty much the tech talking points of the past week that caught my interest. It was an exciting week, to be sure. I learned a lot, saw a lot. There's a few new headphones I want to try. Because once you start to look into headphones, you start up with the AirPods Max, and then you begin to go down that rabbit hole into other viable options, and you start to find things that you didn't even know existed, and then you get kind of excited, like, oh my god, I want to hear that one. I want to hear that one. That one has some pretty good reviews. That one looks amazing. So, pretty good week as far as tech went. And I look forward to what is coming next. So, with that said, my name is NG, the Neon X, and this is what I'm into, the Weekend Review.